Well, I really don't have ADD. Round two. Well, I went out today and actually got lucky, found a little honey hole and I've got a couple of different products, but this was one of them. There was some out there that actually worked pretty well, but if you read the directions on the back and the caution, some of that stuff is pretty hazardous. I would rather see if we can find something that's a little bit user-friendly. You know, somebody that might want to be doing this in their yard and at home and not have to worry about coming outside in a hazmat suit. But I sprayed this stuff on there about 5-10 minutes ago and kind of hit it with a scrub brush, and it's definitely loosening it up. So I'm going to play with this cleaner and stuff and try to find out which one seems to be working. Kind of show you the before and afters. Kind of give somebody maybe a little help if they decide to detail out their old motor. Maybe some products that they can start with. That's where I applied it here. And there was grease and stuff down in these little cracks where I removed the alternator lower bracket. And I mean, this thing is dry as a chip. The nice part about it, it doesn't damage the paint underneath. So if you're trying to you're trying to remove the grease off the top of something and you got something underneath that you don't want to damage, that's a good option, you know. And if you need something a little bit more aggressive, then, you know, there's other options out there. But for a good degreaser that won't hurt anything underneath, that's a gel that, you know, it kind of works on vertical surfaces, works out perfect. Something else that we're getting ready to try was that Clean Strip concrete metal prep. It contains phosphoric acid, and it should convert the rust to iron phosphate, kind of leave it a dark color, and kind of give it a little bit of, a little bit of protection before we put any other kind of coating on it. But we're going to give it a shot. It can't hurt. I've seen other people use it, and it's something that's available, and it's relatively cheap and pretty easy to apply. But I'm going to hit the frame here and in just a couple spots just to test it out and see how it works out. If it's not doing what I think it's supposed to do, then I'm not going to waste my time. Well, this is basically kind of what was left after that Clean Strip. I don't even remember the name of it now. I'll have to look it up. I think they call it Clean Strip concrete and metal etch. Basically, it's a phosphoric acid, and it converts iron oxide into iron phosphate. Leaves kind of a dark finish, and I'm sure you remember how orange that was when we started. And I did very little prep work. Like I said, the frame was in good shape. It just turned into a ball of rust once I stripped off all the grease and everything off of it. It just flash rusted overnight. These are the lighter areas where the rust was probably thinner, and then these were the heavier rust areas that turned black. But it doesn't just come off, and it's smooth and it's dry. It just looks bad, but like I said, it looked better before I used a scuff pad on it. But I think a little bit of prep work and leave that stuff on 24 hours. And basically, you're just going to have that stuff get down into the pits and the things in the crannies that you can't get to. It's going to convert that rust. And next day, I would hit it with a 3M scuff pad lightly, and then, you know, shoot your paint on top of it. It's impressed with this stuff, and it's cheap. I think it was like $18 a gallon. Pour it straight into a spray bottle, and I just sprayed it on there. I didn't do anything else. And that's basically kind of what it looked like. Actually, the driver's side was worse, but roughly that's kind of what it looked like, you know, just rust. And actually, that's kind of a little bit more what it looked like. And that's basically what we're left with. And again, this is smooth. And then all scaly and rust, it's smooth and it's hard. I mean, it's hard. And again, when you're scraping, you're just removing the rust that had a poor bond with the substrate. But that's why you just knock off the top of it with a scuff pad and get down to the base metal, or get down to the more stable surface and shoot your paint on top of it. But if you had an old truck that you didn't not really care what it looks like, you're just trying to preserve it, man, I would pressure wash the frame and I just shoot this stuff on and forget it. It is definitely going to provide a margin protection. Far better than riding around and just letting the salt eat it all up. And this stuff can be reapplied on top of it again and again and again. Well, this is just one of the two products that I bought that was trying to handle some of the rust. And basically they're both a variation of a phosphoric acid type remover converter. I guess that's what you'd have to say. One of them is Clean Strip, I believe, and this one's by Rust-Oleum, Rust Dissolver. You know, and they claim, you know, it'll inhibit rust for 12 months, which I actually don't think that would actually be the case, especially on the exhaust manifold. But if it's leaving a protective film and it's a phosphoric acid, then this is converting that iron oxide into a iron phosphate, which kind of leaves a darker finish on it, but it'll also provide some margin of protection and provide a really good base for a paint. And then I bought that high temp cast iron paint for the exhaust portion of the manifold system. I'm gonna shoot this stuff on there. It's supposed to help dissolve the rust, break it down, and then I have a little wire bristle brush that I'll start trying to scrape on it and see what happens. Yeah, I was going to use a bead blasting cabinet, but it turned out I would have to go chase down the abrasives, and like I said, man, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just trying to get stuff delivered out here and me pick it up. It's just so time consuming. So I'm trying to find what I can do with what I have. And if this doesn't work, then we'll try something else. Man, as far as that Rust-Oleum product, that rust converter, I think they call it Rust Dissolve. In all honesty, yes, it does work. There is a little effort required, a little agitation, a little wait time, probably multiple coats, multiple applications. But the initial footage before we started really didn't show how scaly this was. And believe it or not, it's actually, it looks worse than what it actually is. It really is a lot smoother after just one application. Probably a second coat, a little bit more scrubbing, a little bit more waiting, and then pressure washing it again probably would make a world of difference. But the amount of time and effort, I went ahead and decided to run the hour and a half away and bought some other stuff, and then I found some blasting media. So I'm going back to the sandblasting, and I would suggest that that's probably the best thing to do in a situation like this, unless you just don't have that choice. If you don't have that option, then yes, this stuff does work. Just a lot of effort and a lot of time. Well, I really don't have ADD. I have got so many projects in the fire right now, and I'm running into a lot of issues with tracking down parts and material for the house and for this truck, and just a lot of things. So it's kind of, I've had to do a little bit at a time during the day for each little thing. So this is a little bit jumping around, and I apologize. So this video today might be just kind of a compilation of just some little cuts and stuff that I was picking up and filming along the way. But once we gather up more of the items and we get started on the truck, I promise we'll do some more in-depth of the vehicle and I think y'all are really going to be impressed with the truck. I can just about guarantee it. It's really going to look very nice for what we started with. So I hope y'all take the time to stick around and watch it. And it's getting late, sun's going down, and this is one of those days where I am absolutely wore out and beat. So I think I'm getting ready to put together this video, hopefully get it uploaded, and I think I'm going to turn in tonight early. Thank y'all so much. Y'all good night.